So, with all our technology today, we are still using classrooms. That's probably because classrooms are very good. Teachers are very good. And the early e-learning was simply text and pictures on a computer screen. It wasn't as effective. So, if we're going to produce a modern learning engine, a modern system that can compete or get close to teachers, we have to be very good. And things that we know already that are very good are the flight simulators, the car simulators. They can teach people to fly for £30 and very complex operations. You get a lot of practice and you don't crash and kill anyone. They're very good. A bit complicated to use, you might think, but at the other end we've got children's games. Very simple to use. Can teach children, they pick things up so quickly. Teach them some quite complicated things. They work very well. What we're looking to do is somewhere in the middle. We use these programs now that are used to develop these simulations and games, but I've used the words RAD, Rapid Application Development, because simulators are very expensive. Children's games don't quite have the complexity that we need, so somewhere in between we need systems that work very quickly. We can produce applications very quickly. We want to make models of our engineering industrial equipment for people to experiment with, play with if you like, but actually operate and understand how they work. So if we're looking at engineering equipment, we typically start with MathCAD and spreadsheets to calculate, work things out. Now these are fine, but they don't have a time loop in. You can't do a simulation with a MathCAD or a spreadsheet. At the other extreme we've got Amasim, MATLAB, excellent simulation programs. Fantastic things, but you need to know your stuff to use them. You need to know your hydraulics or your machines incredibly well before you start putting the figures into a simulation program. They certainly don't work as training tools. But again, we need to be somewhere in between. If we follow this line through, we need to use these games, the educational programs that have the time loops in. We can do the full simulations, but we don't want to be as detailed as the Amasim's a top-end simulation, because that causes errors. You get lots of things flagged up. So if we can keep it simple, if we control the inputs so that people can't do things wrong, then we can build very effective simulation programs, very effective training tools, with rapid application development tools that don't cost a fortune to make them. And here's an example of what our training tool might look like. We've got a little guide here, a little helper that we can click through to give advice. We've got sound as well to talk to us if we need it. And then we've got a mathematical model of a power unit that we can experiment with. We can raise and lower the cylinders. We can change the load, which changes the pressure. We can change the relief valve settings, see what happens. We've also got all the cooling built in as well, so we can change the speed of... You can set the system to simulate or emulate your own power units to see what happens. We can select different calculations, different figures as we go through things we'd like to look at. Click through the various settings or include all the calculations. So we've got a lot of flexibility. It's easy to use. People can put in the wrong values and come up with spurious calculations. We can change from fixed to variable pumps to a lot of little tricks in here quite easily, quite safely. It makes a nice training tool for people to experiment with. It's the old adage, if you see you forget, you hear you remember, but if you do you understand, and we're allowing people to experiment and do things. But a training course is far more than just one or two simulations. We need a system to deliver the course. Now, to do this, basically we need a menu system so that people can actually search through and find the parts of the course they want. There may be just a little refresher or something, but not everyone's at the same standard or the same speed, so they need to be able to access things the way they like to. basically a menu system. The important thing is here the person creating the course knows the subject and not the software, so all the menus are text driven. If you enter the headings and the destinations into an Excel spreadsheet, you export from the spreadsheet and that is automatically read by the program. The program these days can work on websites, they can work as downloads, they can work on mobile phones. So we create one program, use it on all your devices. You need to be able to do that, need to deliver in different ways these days. So all you do with the menu systems quite simply is select the course you'd like. And now we reach the course, delivered by a web browser, as I'm sure you would expect. Can be set up in any way really. There are certain things you need. This first page, the introduction, has got the technical content, explains what you will learn, who it's aimed at, and previous knowledge required, with a simple menu to access the different sections. Videos. People like videos, they work very well. It's good sometimes not to employ professional speakers because the people who understand their subjects quite often more believed and more effective than having professional speakers, so hopefully you think that with me. Videos these days, very good, very easy to do. The course itself, you do have to read, I'm afraid. There is always going to be some hard work reading and checking things, but we've got a lot of diagrams, a lot of symbols and things, so you can do this. Also, these days there are some fantastic screen readers. Just get these little free apps and they will read all the text for you and even translate it into other languages. They are getting very good. So, but you have your content, you do have to read that. And last but not least, we get our little simulation. So we flow through. For each particular subject you get a video, you get some reading, and you'll get a simulation where you can actually experiment and try it for yourself. And suggested things to check just as if a teacher would. I say we can put sound in there just so you've got your friendly teacher's voice. Is this the end? No. One more last thing. Yes, finally there has to be a test, I'm afraid. We've got different modes for learning, where it gives you hints with the answers, or the exam mode. You sign in and it will obviously record what scores you've got and send them to whoever would like to see them. And we could just basically show you the different types of questions you can have in the quiz modules these days. Of course, all the questions will be set again from an Excel spreadsheet, so entered by the people who know the subject rather than the software engineers. Multiple choice, as many questions as you'd like. 5 questions there. Nice easy quiz, this one. Correct and correct again, just 2 questions. Here we need to match some text, so put some things in. We can say hello, which was correct. We can identify things on an image, point them out. This one has just got 4 clear areas where you put your arrow, and when you're matched up, click through. Oh, this is good. We have to put these in order, and just by good luck they've all come in the right order. Or you can have multiple correct answers. So in this case these 2 are correct, and we click on both of them. Obviously text and pictures, whatever you put in shows up, and that's just the 6 different tests that you can do. Hopefully you've seen that a learning engine is more than just one thing nowadays. We have to use all the resources available on the internet and deliver them through every device possible, and hopefully we then get a little bit getting closer to what teachers can do in the classroom. Thank you.